Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kelsey, and here we talk all about cross-stitching and the movies and TVs I like to watch while I stitch so that I don't snack. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I hope you enjoyed the last few videos and I hope you enjoy this one. If you haven't subscribed, I would love it if you could do so. That supports the channel and it also supports my crafting addiction. If you are already subscribed, thank you so much. There are almost 300 of you, which is crazy. And I just love it. I love this community and I love getting to talk to you guys and hearing what other people are doing. So keep coming back, keep talking to me. I love when people talk to me. Please make me feel like I'm not just talking into space. I really appreciate it. This is Tinker. He's one of my cats. I am his person. I am the only person he likes. And he likes to sit with me. We've been out of town, so he's feeling a little clingy today. If you're a new viewer, a big welcome, and thank you so much for clicking on my face. Like I said, I'm Kelsey, and here I talk about my cross-stitching projects and the things I am watching while I am cross-stitching. I really enjoy winding down with cross-stitch. It really helps me chill before bed, and if I am just sitting and watching TV, I tend to snack. So this is like the perfect thing for me to do while I'm watching TV because my hands are busy, so I am not shoving food in my face with that. So I just have one more thank you, and then I promise we're gonna get into the stitchiness, but I want to say thank you to Dara from World on a String by Dara. She gave me a shout out on her channel last week, and I just wanted to pay it forward, I guess. I really appreciated it, and I felt super like special. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's talking about me. So I just wanted to say thank you to her, and be sure to go check out her channel. She is also a FlossTuber. She does a lot of really cool little cute patterns. She's working on a couple stitch alongs I've seen people working on. She's working on this like bee one. I think she keeps bees. So she's making this like little honeybee one that's super cute, and I'm excited to see how that one turns out. And in her recent video, she had to start over on this Lord of the Rings stitch that she's been working on, and it's going to be so cool. It's like this stained glass of the story and everything, but she had to start over because she didn't like the pattern, and so she got a new pattern, and I feel bad for her, but I think that it's probably for the best. I think she'll be happier with it in the end. So good luck, Dara, and thank you again for the mention. Okay, so now we are going to get into the stitchy things. So we're going to start with some of my whips. I don't have any finishes. I kind of have a finish, I guess, but don't really have any finishes. So we'll get into the whips, and then we will talk about some future projects that I am hoping to start soon. And then if you don't care about my TV and movie obsession, you can skedaddle, and I'm going to talk about the movies and TV shows I've been watching lately that have been interesting or really terrible. So yeah, if you want to hear about that, stick around. But for now, let's do some stitchy things. My first whip, I think I showed it last time, and I hadn't made a ton of progress, and I still haven't made a ton of progress, but I really like this one, and I'm so close to finishing. It's almost done. And that is my chunk cat here. And I just have like some little bit of his legs and his tail over here to do, and then filling in like his cheeks and his eyes and his ears and stuff. That's all I have left. I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do with it when I'm done. It's for my daughter. She asked me to stitch this one when she saw it, and I wanted to practice stitching in hand, and I thought that this one would be a really good one since it's just like solid blocks of color. So I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do with it when I'm done with it, because we're gonna redo her room in a little bit, so I'm not sure. We'll see what I end up doing. Maybe nothing, but who knows? So yeah, this one's almost done, and this pattern is by Cross Stitch Kick on Etsy, I think is where I got it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing it. I think it's starting to get a little monotonous because it is just like a solid chunk of black. Like from here to here. So it's been a little uneventful and boring. So looking forward to finishing it so I can kind of focus on some other things or some new starts. So that's that one. The next one has a little thread on it. This one was sent to me by Personalized Designs, and it's a little bookmark. It says, "May the force be with you," with little Yoda down there. And yeah, they sent this one to me to stitch up, and it's pretty easy. It came with all of the floss and the pattern, and there's a lot of back stitching if you don't like back stitching. Probably not for you, but yeah, it came with a needle and everything. I think it's 16 count Aida that it's on, and it's finished technically, like the stitching is finished, but I still need to put the back part on and do, I think it's called a blanket stitch, like around the corners. So once I figure out how to do that, then it came with directions on how to do the blanket stitch on the edges too. So I'll learn something new when I finish it. But I'm going to give this to my daughter when it's done. She asked if she could have it. She is a very avid reader. She's always reading, and she's got tons of books. Her bed is like 50% stuffies, 40% books, 10% child. So she had asked for me to give it to her when she finished so she can put it in her in one of her books that she's reading. She's always reading like multiple books all the time, and she's supposed to read like 20 books for school, and that's not happening because she bounces around too much. My next whip is by Velvet Pony Designs, and it's a floral skull, and I will tell you right now, it looks nothing like a floral skull right now. It's kind of been fun, like seeing it come together. I was showing it to people and I was like, oh yeah, I'm working on this one. And I would show it to them and be like, okay. I'm like, it's gonna be cool, it's gonna be cool. But anyway, this is what it looks like right now. And as you can see, it doesn't look much like a skull. It just kind of looks like stuff. But there'll be like another eye over here, and there's like a mouth that goes over here. So once I get a little further along on it, it will look more like a skull, I promise. I'll throw the picture up of what it will look like when it's finished. I'm stitching this one on a fabric I found at Hobby Lobby. It's a 18 count Zweigart, and it's like, I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but it's like a marbly kind of effect. I stitched this one on white because my other like Halloween stitchy one is on black. I wanted to kind of differentiate, and then I liked how it had a little bit of the gray in it, so it wasn't just straight white. Had a little bit of fun. And then the 18 count, I've never stitched on anything besides 14 count at this point in my life, so the 18 count has been really easy, I guess. And this one's pretty easy because it's white. You can see the holes fairly easy. And I feel like, you know, my thread goes a little bit longer. I started using the loop method to start that everybody's been talking about. And I finally jumped on board, and I also love it. So if you're not doing it, join us, come to the dark side. And it just keeps the back nice and clean, and it's easier to start. Like, I'm not having to hold pieces because I have pretty small hands. So sometimes it's hard for me to like hold things back here and stitch up here. The problem with that is that I like to have long threads, and I like to not have to like make a new thread all the time. So my threads are like really long. And it's a little comical, especially when I was stitching on the plane. So yeah, that's my floral skull, again by Velvet Pony Designs. And hopefully I can get some a little further along on this one soon so that, you know, you can kind of tell what it is. All right, my next one, I'm excited about this one. This is the one, we were in Florida last week, and this is the one that I spent most of my time stitching while we were there. I started the floral skull while we were there, but I spent most of my time on this sugar skull. So this pattern is by Sam X Stitch, and this is where I'm at. Woo! It's almost I mean, I say almost done, but it's not quite almost done. So this is my little sugar skull. It still has some stuff on the chin that needs to get done, and there's some things that need to get like filled in up here. And then there's like this whole yellow border that needs to happen. So this one is, I say it's almost done, but I mean like the sugar skull is almost done. The rest of it is not. I really like the colors in this one. When I was picking the colors out when I was at Michael's or whatever, I like picked out this blue and the pink, and I was like, whoa, these are bright. I don't usually do bright colors. Like the ones on the floral skull, like these are more of my jam. These ones are a little bright, but I really like it. And then I actually stitched it on the black Aida. It called for white in the pattern. It was stitched on white in the pattern that they showed. But I never stitched on black. So this is a 14 count Aida, and I don't think I could go smaller for a dark one. This one's been a little difficult to stitch on just because it's dark and sometimes the threads are dark, so it's a little hard to see, but I've powered through. I've done it. So I made a couple changes to this one since it was originally on white. All this like cream color, it's DMC Ecru, but it was actually supposed to be black. So I just swapped it, and then the inside of the skull where all the black is was supposed to be stitched with the Ecru, but I decided since I was stitching on black, I wouldn't do the black thread. I thought it obviously would look weird. So I just swapped those, and doing so, I don't have to stitch the inside, all the black. So I saved myself like 1,700 stitches by doing that. So go me. I mean, it would have been fine filling it in because it's pretty simple. I would have done it last and just like covered everything. And I think once the yellow gets in there, it's gonna be like super, super cool. It's like 3 different colors of yellow that it calls for. So that one's almost done. I'm a little stressed that I did not cut my fabric big enough. I was being stingy, I guess. I don't know. So hopefully there's enough for the border. I think it'll be okay, but we'll have to see. So I stitched this, like I said, mostly on my vacation, and then I also stitched it on the plane. When we flew to Florida, we were on a red eye, so we were trying to sleep when we flew there. But when we flew back, it was just a night flight. So I spent a lot of time stitching. I actually like only had like part of this border done and the teeth, and so I finished the whole border and a couple things in the middle. The flight attendant asked me if I finished before I got off the plane, if she could have it. And there was a few problems with that. 1, it was not going to be finished by the time I got off the plane. And 2, I want to keep this one. I don't keep a lot of them. I tend to like gift them. People see me working on them and they ask if they can have them. And I'm like, sure, yeah. Or they're like, oh, that one's really cool. I'm like, oh, well, do you want it when I'm done? Because I'm not gonna keep it. So I'm keeping this one though. It'll go in the Halloween box with all the Halloween stuff after Halloween, and then I'll pull it out again next year. That is if I finish it. Maybe I'll wait and like finish it next year. I don't know. That seems, I don't know if I can handle that. I like to have things done. I don't like things like sitting. I mean, I do it a lot. I have like projects half finished. Like over here in my office, there's a pile of things that need to find a home, and their home is in the middle of the floor right now. I feel like if I abandon it, and I'm not gonna go back to it. Also, fun fact, you can bring scissors up to 4 inches long on the plane. So if you are worried about that, TSA on their website, it says up to 4 inches from the hinge. So if you have long handles or something like that, it has to, the blade from the hinge to the tip of the blade has to be less than 4 inches. Which is crazy because those are really sharp, and I definitely feel like you could hurt somebody with them. And then my dad always has this pocket knife with him, and he's constantly forgetting to take it out for like flights. We went to Universal Studios and he had it in his pocket, and it's like a 2-inch blade. It's not very big. It's like a little pocket knife that goes on his keys, and he's constantly getting in trouble for having that. And I'm like, but I can have 4-inch scissors? Like that doesn't make any sense, but whatever. Also, I've been seeing a lot of people with like project bags, and if you have like a good project like travel bag, somebody on my Instagram posted it and now I can't find it because I didn't save it, but if you know any project bags that are good for like traveling that will like fit all your crap in there, because this was my travel bag. Just a Ziploc baggie full of goodies. So yeah, if you have a good project bag that's good for travel, I like to skinny kind of situation, let me know, because that was, I mean, it worked. It's functional, just not pretty, right? So that's all my current whips. I have I guess a start. If you watched one of my last videos, I talked about stitching on a tote bag. So I have a tote bag and I have a pattern. And so I put the DMC soluble grid. I don't remember what it's called. But it's just, it dissolves in water once you're done stitching. So I stitched that onto my bag. I hope you can see it because I can't see you. So I stitched it down onto the bag so I can start stitching the pattern. I'm not entirely sure. I had to, the soluble canvas, that's what it's called, canvas, is only like 8.5 by 8. Oh, there's the tea bear again. And I know. So I had to like cut an extra piece because my pattern is a little wider than that. So there's like this little bonus piece. I'm not entirely positive how well I did like matching up the holes on the side there. So that's going to be an adventure when I start stitching, how that's going to work. But it was pretty easy to put this on there. It's like pretty flexible. I think the hard part is that it is a clear canvas on a white fabric. So I had a really hard time getting, like, seeing it basically and making sure it was straight and everything. That was a real pain in the butt for that. But I mean, it's bendy and flexible. I also like don't have a hoop big enough for this. So, and my concern about a hoop that's not big enough is that I don't know if I do the hoop and it goes across the soluble canvas, if like it's gonna crinkle and not like straighten out, and then it's gonna be really hard to stitch. So if you've used this soluble canvas before and you used a hoop, and I want to know your experience, send me a comment, because I don't know how that's going to work. And I definitely don't want to do stitching in hand just because it's big and bulky and that's going to be a pain in the ass. So yeah, this is the test bag. So I made my own pattern for it. Where did I put it? So I made my own pattern for it using Max Stitch, and here it is. So it's just like a phone, keys, wallet, sunglasses. I don't know if these are going to be the exact colors, but I am going to do the black outline. So good old DMC 310 is going to make an appearance, and I'm going to do the outline first and then decide if I'm going to do any of the colors and what colors I'm going to do. I also don't have any sewing pins, so like pinning this down before I sewed it on was like, I used safety pins and it was getting stuck and I stabbed myself a million times, so that was fun. I probably should get some sewing pins. I don't sew, I stitch, right? So I don't have things like that, but hopefully I will start this. I want to have it done by the end of the year. So I think once I get started on it, it won't take long, but I think the whole starting it is going to be the hard part because, you know, best laid plans. On to my future stitchies, or future ideas and projects and things. So it's getting, you know, Halloween is about to happen, and then it's going to be Thanksgiving, which is my favorite holiday. I love Thanksgiving. It's all the food and the family and the hanging out and the fun without the pressure of giving somebody a gift and spending a bunch of money. I like Christmas too, but Thanksgiving is number one. So with Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up, I want to start doing some Christmas stitchy things. I have not even looked or thought about or found any Christmas patterns yet. So I'm looking forward to kind of spending some time and cruising around. If you have any like favorite shops, I tend to skew towards more modern, nerdy, geeky kind of things. If you have any suggestions of people who have really cool stuff. I'm not really sure if I'm gonna do like any stitching gifts for people for Christmas. I don't want that pressure to get it done by then. I did see some pretty cute little bookmarks that like go in the corner of your page. But most of the people that I know that really like to read, besides my daughter, have like a Kindle and they don't have real books. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but probably not like put myself under some pressure to get things done by Christmas and just enjoy some Christmas stitching, because that seems like I'll be happier with myself if I don't like push myself to be like, I have to get this done by Christmas for so-and-so. Looking forward to Christmas stitching. I just haven't really gotten into it yet. I want to finish at least one of my Halloween stitches before I move on. But I don't know, I get excited. So, and I'm going to see everybody else is going to be doing their Christmas stitches, and then I'm going to get jealous, which is how I got into my Halloween stitching problem. So maybe I should just not be on my Instagram anymore. You guys are making me feel like I need more things. I also have talked about embroidering some shoes, and I have not gotten to there. I am kind of stuck. I'm not really sure what I want to do. I've like gone on my iPad and drawn out a few patterns that I think would look nice, and then I'm like, well, this is going to take forever, and then I have to do 2 shoes, but I don't want to do it too simple. So I'm a little stuck on that. I think I just need to keep looking around and finding some patterns that I like and certain flowers and kind of like putting it together. I know I want to do flowers. You know, I don't want it to be too busy, but I want it to look full. So yeah, I like those like wagon wheel stitches, flowers with like the French knots inside, and like the stems with like the baby's breath French knots. I know I definitely want to do a few of those, and maybe some few like daisy looking ones. But I'm not like 100% sure how to make that all look good together. So hopefully by the end of the year, I'll have some shoes stitched, at least one, maybe, you know, and then I can be like, oh yeah, this is totally worth doing the other shoe. But, or they were like $15 on Amazon, and I can just never touch them again. Okay, a few more stitchy things, then we'll get into the chill things. Since Dara gave me a shout out, I wanted to shout out some of the other FlossTubers that I have been watching and really enjoying. So I will start with Little Miss Crafts a Lot. She is from Sweden, I believe, and she does like super cute. She's working on these like little ornaments right now, and they're super adorable, and I'm excited to see how she finishes them. She's still stitching them. I think there's 24 and she's done 12, so she's halfway there. But I also just really like listening to her. She has a very soothing voice, and find that Scandinavian accent, you know, just like calming, I guess. She always has like really good insight to her projects, and I like watching her process, especially with those little ornaments right now. But yeah, I just enjoy watching her and listening to her talk about her process and everything. That's a good one. So Little Miss Crafts a Lot. And I'm gonna like link everybody below, so if you miss it or something, just check down in the description. So the second person that I really enjoyed watching, and I've actually was watching her before I figured out like FlossTube was a thing, and she doesn't necessarily do FlossTube, but she does stitchy things sometimes, and that's the Giddy Stitcher, and she is from England, I believe, and she has really fun energy, I guess. She reminds me of me a little bit. She's a little like nerdy and a little awkward, but like in a good way. And I think she's funny, and she's always like experimenting, and I love watching her experiments because they don't always go to plan. And I love when people are super real about their mistakes and being like, okay, I tried this, it did not work out, but you can learn from me. So watching her videos for that are really fun. She does a lot of like resin projects, she does sewing, she does stitching, she does, her and her husband make dice for gaming. She is super fun and I love watching her, so go check her out, the Giddy Stitcher. And finally, one more for today, because you know the rule of threes when it comes to design and writing and all that stuff, is Darling Bluebell. And she is a process stitcher, so she like picks out these huge projects and works on them and comes back to them and stops working on them and comes back to them, and she it just blows my mind because she picks these things and she's like, oh yeah, look, I'm 6% through this, and it's like, that's only 6%, that looks like so much. But she was saying in one of the videos that I watched that she now has more projects than she has for her life expectancy. So which is cool. I love that she just enjoys the process and just enjoys the stitching and doesn't really care about finishing things. So I really like watching her. She's working on this really big blue one that I absolutely love. She also has a blue couch like me. So, you know, it feels like it's homey, and I enjoy watching her and seeing her process. Now it's time to chill. Talk about things that we're watching here. I obviously have been watching a lot of FlossTube. That's become one of my new favorite things to watch while I stitch. I just love the community and seeing what other people are doing, and just this like wide world. Like, everybody is so different. They all like different things and they're stitching different things, and everybody has their own process. So I have really been enjoying learning from other people and hearing about what they're doing. We also finished House of the Dragon last night, which was Wednesday, so it comes out on Sunday, but we were in Florida and then we were traveling and it was just busy, so we didn't get to watch it till yesterday. And surprisingly enough, we had no spoilers, but I might give some spoilers here, so if you don't want to hear about it, jump ahead. Yeah, I'm really excited for the next season. The first season was a little slow to start, but that usually is like most shows and books and everything. You know, they have to like establish this thing. I really liked like the time jumps in it, and I really like the characters. Like, there's a lot of characters, but it's not as many characters as like Game of Thrones. Like, you don't have to remember everybody, but a lot of them have the same name or very similar names, so it makes it really hard to like remember people. I really enjoyed it, especially the last couple episodes. Like the last 2 episodes, one is all from like Alicent and the Hightower family's perspective, and then the second episode is all the same things that are happening, but this time it's from Rhaenyra's perspective and the Targaryen side of the family. So I really liked that part of it. I feel absolutely terrible for these characters. They live in a rough world. The drama is good. I'm really excited. Like, the way the season ended, always on a cliffhanger, obviously, and it's going to be like freaking 2.5 years before we see one again. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they kind of play this out. And you know, it's always fun to have little Easter eggs from there to Game of Thrones. My husband always was like, Arya needs her own series. And then I think they're making one about Jon Snow, and I was like, oh, that's lame, but I'd rather see Arya on her adventures. But maybe sometime in the future we'll get that show, because that would be awesome, because she was such a cool character and such badass. And then I've been watching the Great British Baking Show still. I think I watched in Florida with my mom and my sister. We watched the newest episode, which I can't even remember what it was. Probably wasn't paying very close attention because, you know, usually my daughter's bouncing around and everybody's there. My husband's making fun of it and my dad's there making fun of it. So I think we didn't quite get that into it. I can't even remember what it was or who went home or anything like that. So obviously that episode really made a big impression on me. I don't know if I talked about this in my last episode. I probably should have like gone back and watched and figured that out. But I watched this documentary called Our Father on Netflix, and it was crazy. It's about this guy who was basically artificially inseminating women with his own sperm, and now they're in this little community and all these people are related. There's almost 100 siblings, and there's probably more. and they're close in age, in proximity, like some of them, they didn't say, but you know, you could be married to your sister, half sister, and that's like really messed up. It was a really good documentary though. And one thing though is that they talk about how his office is decorated with all these like cross stitch and like religious cross stitch, and they like show it in there. I'm like, oh, come on, don't give the cross stitch the creepy vibes. Like, it can be creepy, but let's not make it creepy. That was my one beef. No, it was really terrible and weird and crazy, and definitely worth the watch, I think, because like there's nothing these people can do about this. Like, he can't go to jail for it. He can't like do, there's like nothing, they have nothing to basically, he doesn't have to answer to anybody. Was a crazy documentary. I really liked that one. I've also been watching Dairy Girls on Netflix. My friend told me I should watch it, and it's hilarious. It takes a minute to understand what they're saying some of the time. They get into some crazy antics, I guess, but I've really enjoyed that one. That one's been super funny. Liking Dairy Girls. I'm also super excited. I have not started it yet, but Unsolved Mysteries is back on Netflix, and my husband is always like, I don't understand why you guys like watching this stuff. Like, this is depressing and this is terrible. And I'm like, it's research, you know, like how to not die, how to not get murdered. I'm excited for Unsolved Mysteries. I really like those ones. I don't know why I like the unsolved ones. Like, I get excited to watch them, and then at the end I'm disappointed that it's not solved and we don't know who did it. And I'm like, okay, the show is literally called Unsolved Mysteries. Get it together, kid. I also was talking about The Handmaid's Tale, and I do want to start The Handmaid's Tale. And I think now that my husband's done with the Lord of the Rings series and we've watched House of the Dragon, I think I might try and convince him to watch Handmaid's Tale with me, because I don't want to watch it by myself. Somebody told me if I can handle Game of Thrones, then I can handle Handmaid's Tale. Hopefully I get to start that one soon and I don't like cry the whole time. So if you're still here, thank you so much for watching me ramble about my favorite TV shows right now. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I would totally appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. All those things support this channel and make me feel like I'm not talking into space. And I will see you guys in the next video.